Alright, here's another review I've been excited to bring to you. Again, I sound a little worse. I feel a lot better, but I sound a little worse because of my cold, so I apologize for that. But here it is, Takara Legends LG35 Super GINRAI, their version of Power Master Optimus, who is a fairly extensive remold even of the American Hasbro Titans Return Power Master Optimus Prime. And we'll show off some differences here in just a second. Actually, just go ahead and do it right now. So, here you go. Hasbro, Takara. And you can see one, he's got proper rifles as opposed to just the reused Magnus hammer pieces. These guns are the same, but you see the cab is extensively remolded here from the American version. It looks more like a old school G1 Power Master Prime cab. Or GINRAI, again, it is the Takara, the Japanese market, based off of Super GINRAI, which is the toy we know as Power Master Optimus Prime here in the States. Although he did have the God Bomber armor, which we'll get to later on in the review. But he's molded in a more vibrant, more Optimus red that I feel. Like, same with the gray, it's not this kind of yellowish. Like, this looks like a gray that's been sitting in like a smoker's house or like out in the sun too long and it's yellowed, whereas the Takara version has a nice vibrant clear gray versus like this kind of smoky yellowed gray. And the wheels are the hubcaps are painted, and not total remolding. See, it's still got the little ladder and the door here on the Takara version. Most of the details are the same. There's got some different legs, and you'll see some differences as we transform it. But the cab, you can see, is very different from what we got in the US. And move right along to transform him. I'll go ahead and pop these guns off. Now, he does have a base mode, just the way that the American version does. Not a big fan of it. It's essentially the exact same one as the American one, except because of the way the arm panels transform, like you have the entire length just sticking straight up. There are some ways you can do to mitigate that. I'm not a big fan of the base mode. I'm gonna skip it because it really isn't. Aside from the stupider arm panels, in that one mode only, it's essentially the same as the American version. I don't really want to. It attaches, it's got the same connectors that attach to blaster and soundwave. Down the line, I may do a big base mode with all the leaders and figures that have the attachable parts, with 6-shot and all that, and just connect them all to Fort Max and do a base mode overview for all of them. So keep an eye out. I'm kind of, now that I've thought of that idea, it might be something I do later, and I'll certainly show off his base mode then. I'm not going to mess with it here. Like I said, I bought him for truck mode and robot mode, and then eventually God GINRAI mode, which we'll get with God Bomber. Anyway, enough of that. And he transforms almost exactly the same as the Power Master version, or the American version. Go ahead and pull High Q out of here. Much better painted than the. Well, I'll do a Headmaster comparison in a little bit. Different head sculpt than we've seen before on this mold and this Titan Master. So this is the third, I think, Optimus head sculpt we've gotten. Anyway, we'll go ahead and pop that out. We'll fold that panel in, and we'll deal with the cab here in a minute. So we come up here, unpick these panels from the side here, and snap them from there, and snap them from there. And then these will come out like this, and you can lift the arms up like that. And you bring the legs, go ahead and start to bring the legs down as well. Now the arms, like I said before, the arm panels are different. Instead of being one solid piece like this that folds up and then blocks the hand, you fold this panel down and in. This has a tab on it, which I thought would maybe plug into here, but it really kind of doesn't. This does sit at an angle, but it doesn't block the hand, and the hands do something cool too as well. But you fold those up, bring the arms out and around the sides here. The cab does the same, pop around, slide down, lock into place on the chest. We'll go ahead and open this up and pull the seat up and out here to form the head connector. And close these panels up right here like this. This comes up, these panels right here fold forward, and this whole assembly pops up. And again, then you've got like the high little molding that represents High-Q plugged in as an engine. The side windows, we'll do a comparison with the G1 version here in just a second. Go ahead and finish bringing the legs down. Let me bring this up a little bit. We'll finish up with the top half of the body here. So bring his head down, fold High-Q in half, plug him in right up here. There we go. And bring the helmet down over it. Now the arms, you rotate the fist forward the proper way, and then this whole assembly collapses into the forearm. So once again, the Japanese release gets better hands than the American version of the mold. It was the same way. The American PowerMaster Prime had solid molded arms and hands, whereas the Japanese version, the hands slid out of the forearm. Anyway, so you bring these down. These come around just like before, the kneecaps and the shins and these panels. But before we fold these panels all the way up, the feet come down out and around like this. This panel rotates around, so you bring that down around like that, flip the heel piece down, flip the toe part up, and bring this all the way forward like that. So he does have weird kind of toes, but they're meant to evoke the G1 PowerMaster Prime toes. And again, I'd be more critical of them if I didn't already know that God Bomber was coming. So, you know, yeah, fold those around. And the same thing over here. Bring the foot down like this, all the way forward. Rotate the toe piece around, and then bring the heel piece down. And fold this panel around, tap it together, and straighten out his feet, stand him up. Alright, and we'll scroll up here a little bit to just make sure his head's in the frame. And of course you can attach the side guns to his shoulders. And he holds his guns with ease. Now this gun can be held individually. These guns have the little Titan Master seat on them, just like on the original. These two rifles can attach top to top, like that. And you can have a little Power Master seat on, or Titan Master seat on those as well. Attach that to a base. But yeah, so he's got two rifles here. And there we go. Here we go. Something's come loose over here. But yeah, the feet, I find the heel pieces like to rotate up a little bit. That may be something I try to tighten here. But once you get him standing, he can stand pretty well. The feet, they're a little skinny, but I find them to be less visually obtrusive or visually, I don't want to say offensive, but they bug me less visually in hand than a lot of pictures made them look. So, you know, there. He's got the same posability. He's got the turning head. Doesn't really look up and down, I guess, unless you just move the helmet. But the ratcheting shoulders, side to side, bicep swivel, elbow. He does have wrist swivels now. That's nice. No waist swivel. Ratcheting hips, front to back and side to side. Thigh swivel. A little bit of ratcheting knee movement, but not a whole lot. He does still have the blue eyes as well. So yeah, and then as a quick comparison to the Takara version, or to the Hasbro version to the Takara version. You can see he ends up, because of the feet being slightly taller, again, the red much more vibrant, the windows, the chest much more evocative of Super GINRAI / G1 PowerMaster Prime. Even the feet and the legs, a lot more paint. You can see a lot of the detail, even though the shins are the same panels. The feet are different, but the shins are the same. You see a lot more detail is painted here on the Takara version. And then, just to compare them both with old school G1 PowerMaster Prime, this is actually the Japanese version of the mold. You can see the extended hands down there. No, don't fall over. You see the hands slid up into the forearms, whereas they did not do that on the American version. But you can see how the feet are more evocative of the feet here, the kind of long, skinny ones. And again, he will combine with God Bomber. And that's the thing. You can see the remolding here on the arms with the socket. There's some little plug-ins here versus the flat panels that have to sit behind the hands here on the Hasbro version. So Hasbro could do their own God Bomber. Don't want to 100% rule that out. Maybe that's something they have had plans. The Apex Armor, I guess, is what they've generally called it here in America. But Japanese God Bomber probably not going to work with American Prime. Now, it might be really cool if they did it in such a way that it could still be used with the Hasbro version, but somehow I doubt it. I just feel like with all these new connectors and the new arm panels and the new feet, that a lot of the connection points for the Takara God Bomber are not going to work on the Hasbro. Could be wrong. But just to show those off with the G1. And then again, I mentioned the 3 different Titan Master Optimus modes. There's both of them with the Voyager version. And again, you've got on the Hasbro version, the Titan Master has no faceplate. And I do kind of dig it. Like I said, it's kind of Orion Pax-ish before he became Prime, who then becomes the headmaster and gets covered up with the faceplate. Kind of a neat idea. Then you've got the Voyager version, Dyac here, who is more of your stereotypical Prime head, a little squarish. And then you've got the Takara Super GINRAI, in which, so I guess it's GINRAI, not Haikyuu. I said Haikyuu several times, because that's the context I generally have for him. So you've actually got 3 very different sculpted Prime heads already in the Titan's Return line. And supposedly he's going to be getting a Titan Master version, like one of the small Titan Master robots with just the kind of little body they can use. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, there's 3 different Prime heads there. And again, just to show off the comparison in paint, aside from just the different head sculpt, you can see just how much more awesome the Takara version is. Get this Headless Horseman out of the way here. But yeah, totally worth the price of admission on this guy. If you don't already have the American Power Master Prime, go ahead and if you've got the money, spring for the Japanese version. I think even if you do have the American Power Master Prime from Titan's Return, if you can afford it, if you can find one in stock, totally worth picking up. Like I said, I love it. I do. My 2 minor complaints are, well, 3 if you count the base mode that I already talked about. I do wish these were designed in such a way that these could sit flat. They didn't angle back. Again, a minor complaint, because it does. I'd rather have this than have the whole panel sticking out here behind the fist like on the American version. And 2, I wish these heel pieces here were just a smidge tighter, and I may be able to fix that. Looks like there's a screw right there that may be adjustable, but every now and then the weight will go back just enough, and it doesn't take, with just the leverage and the height of this guy, it doesn't take much for these to start leaning up, and that causes him to start leaning backwards. But when everything's all working and said and done, just a really excellent figure. Takara Legends LG35 Super GINRAI.